Welcome to my documentary about witchcraft. Today we're going to be talking about a piece of witchcraft history known as the Pendle Witch Trials and influences that technology has on witchcraft in the modern age. Enjoy!
I think the internet has influenced witchcraft in a positive and negative way. In a positive way, it has allowed people to create a community, share their knowledge and understanding of witchcraft, and it has also spread what witchcraft really is and shown the difference between the historical meaning to the real current modern day meaning. And for the negatives, it's created a lot of scams, as well as spreading false information about, and people think you have to do it in a certain way, but you don't really have to.
Now, before we jump into the Pendle Witch Trials, let's first talk about social media and the internet. So, what are social media and the internet? Well, social media is many different platforms that allow you to post images and videos about things you are interested in and stuff that happens in your life. It also allows you to talk to your friends. The internet is a platform that you can use to research a multitude of subjects. Social media and the internet have been around for years, and they have greatly influenced the world's society and the cultures within our societies.
I feel like social media has impacted it in a really great way because it's more heard of. TikTok has loads of videos of it to help you out. You learn about manifestation, tarot cards are the ones that I've seen mostly on social media, and also it's became a more positive thing for people to talk about and not negative. And people aren't thinking about the past, thinking about the future.
Witchcraft. Years ago, witchcraft was greatly hated as people thought it was the work of the devil and was used to harm people and their crops. They believed that witches could control the weather, make people ill, and destroy food crops. However, as years went by, witchcraft started to become more accepted, as people didn't believe that witchcraft was the work of the devil. One event that happened when people thought witchcraft was evil and the devil's work was the Pendle Witch Trials. The Pendle Witches were a group of witches who were imprisoned and murdered at Lancaster Castle in the 17th century. There were 12 witches in the coven in total. Two judges who were aware of Lancashire's reputation as a lawless and untamed society investigated and sentenced the Pendle Witches.
As a practice, witchcraft is more open because it allows people to be more open with their practice, as well as allowing to create covens or couples to create do magic as a group and do it as a community. As a religion, it has been the witchcraft religion, such as Wicca and paganism, has become more open and more accepted. But again, in witchcraft, you don't have to have, basically any religion, you really do not have to have a religion to do witchcraft. You can be an atheist and do witchcraft, you can be Christian and do witchcraft. Witchcraft has become more accessible to people because it's became a really big thing on TikTok, and for me, on my TikTok account that I've got, it allows me spread information as well as get other information from other people, and it helps create community as well as showing different sides of people's magic, because everyone practices in a different way, and it just shows that you can do it in your own way that suits you.
A fight between Alison Davis and a peddler by the name of John Law led to the start of the trials. Alison begged John for pins during this argument, but John refused to give them to her without receiving payment. Alison then cursed John, and later John suffered a stroke and blamed Alison for it. She acknowledged before Justice Noel that the devil had instructed her to render John disabled. In this trial, many more variables were taken into account as Alison accused the Chattox family and Old Demdike of witchcraft. Between August 17th and August 19th, 1612, Lancaster served as a location for the trial. One of the witches didn't make it to trial, they died before they started. Jeanette Davis, who was 9 years old, provided a substantial amount of evidence for these trials, which was allowed under the King James system.
I think social media and the internet have influenced witchcraft positively, but also negatively. Positively because witches, especially new ones, can get the information they want on like a new subject. For instance, tarot cards. They can go through TikTok, the internet to get the research they need. Negatively, there's a lot of fraud witches out there using TikTok and the internet. There's a lot of misconceptions and misinformation. You can be told one thing, but the internet tells you another. One of the families, the Demdike family, consisted of an 80-year-old woman who had been a practicing witch for 50 years. She lived within the forest of Pendle, which was ideal for her kind of work. She had committed crimes when she was younger, but no one knew about them. Within the forest of Pendle, she reared her own children, taught her grandchildren, and tried to nurture them as witches. She was the devil's main agent, so no man felt safe or secure around her. However, she never gave them a reason to be angry at her, nor did she deny them anything they needed. There were 4 more members of this family: Elizabeth, James, Alison, and Jeanette Davis. The other family were the Chattoxes, who also included an old woman who went by the name of Anne Whittle, but was commonly known as Old Chattox. Old Chattox and Old Demdike seemed to harbour resentments one another and consistently accused one another during the trials. Old Chattox was more willing to harm men's things than men themselves. No man could see what her lips were doing as they chatted non-stop. She also lived within the forest of Pendle with a group of witches, a murderous group.
In conclusion, it appears that a number of different elements played a role in the harshness of the witch trials. The 2 families may have been competing for the greatest reputation in the neighbourhood, or they may have been driven by the money that could be made pretending to have witchcraft powers in the 17th century. This backfires, making this the largest and most famous witch trials, and increasing the absurd accusation and widespread fear of witchcraft across the country.
can see from this chapter in Witchcraft history, the Pendle Witch Trials. Witchcraft was despised in the 17th century, but as society has developed and become more accepting, witchcraft has become more widespread. Additionally, the technology of today has had a significant impact on how witches practice, study and share their craft. A few examples are the internet and social media platforms like Facebook and TikTok, which have made it easier for witches to contact one another and share their personal witchcraft experiences. These platforms make it easier to access information regarding witchcraft. Through this piece of witchcraft history, we can see that the digital age has affected the culture of witchcraft through social media and the internet over the years of technology evolution.
In my opinion, the pros of witchcraft, it's in the digital age, it's allowed people to create like businesses and become more open and more friendly about it, and it's allowed it to become more accessible throughout the internet, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all the sorts of like social media. It's allowed people who do practice witchcraft allowed to walk about in the world more safely. The cons of witchcraft, in my opinion, is the scams, false information, and just like people telling you what you can and can't do. As well, and another con about it is like what I called Christian Karens, where like they do not, like where they still like think you worship the devil and all of that. Yeah.